What is going on, people? Hope everybody's good. We're currently in the mid Portugal near Sintra, which is quite close to our neighbour of Lisbon. This is the bike installation video. I'm going to show you that now. We decided to put our bikes on the inside of our van, with us having the intention of wild camping as much as possible to save on accommodation costs or campsite costs. Decided to put our bikes on the inside of our van, compromise quite a bit of space under the bed for that, but we want to eliminate the risk of having our bikes stolen. Don't know whether this is a thing. There's quite a few motorhomes that you see, and most of them have got bike racks on the back, but I'm not sure whether them stay on campsites, proper campsites, as much as wild camping. So I'm going to show you this now, as there's a few things that I miss out on the video that's going to come after this intro, and that's it. Enjoy. So this is the bike rack. I've just emptied the rest of the boot area. This is where our seats and a little bit these boxes and stuff and tools get stored, but basically what we've got is I just take the pedals off every time we put the bikes away. This is a spanner which is the correct size, and then just got the lock on the front here to finish it off. Put one of the spare kitchen handles that we've got on, and that pulls out all the way to there, so makes it quite easy to get your bikes off of. You'll hear us talk in the video about storing the wheels, so we solved that problem. These are what people use for travelling with bikes in airports or when they're flying with bikes, and they'll put the wheels inside of here. It's got two separate compartments, and obviously the bit that actually goes through the wheel, there's a little pocket for that as well. So I've just strapped two bungee cords to the side there, them just come over the top, and one of them attaches to there and one of them attaches to there. And didn't show you, I'm not going to show you in this video now, but just simply put a couple of a stop on there so the draw can actually only come out so far. And as you can see, there is more of these bolts towards the front than these towards the back, as when the draw is out full stretch, that is where you're going to have the most weight on the front, and holds a substantial amount of weight. Actually stood in that, so plenty strong enough. And what else can I tell you? Helmet's just stored in the back there, and that's it. Smooth enough to put in and out. So let's get into the build video. Enjoy. So today, in the boot area underneath here, we're going to be making a sliding draw. It's going to be approximately the width of this opening here, and it's going to run from the back here where there'll be a backstop and all the way to the front lip there. So it's going to be quite a long draw. The runners, I'm going to use 20mm box section on some skateboards. See what they're called, skateboard ball bearings, and them are going to be fixed through the side with some M8 bolts. And then basically our bikes are going to be lying on their sides and on top of each other, one on top of the other, because the height of the bed is only 650 and the frames are bigger than that, so we can't have our bikes standing upright. So I'm going to have to figure out a way of stacking them. I'm going to mean taking the pedals off, but I'm going to measure up for the draw and then measure up for the outside section, which it'll actually run inside of, and then I'm going to get them cut. Just getting the measurements for the draw. This is the bike we just purchased. Me and Jen got the same bikes, the Crossfire Carrera from Halfords, got it on the Cycle to Work scheme. So basically this is the bigger of the two frames, a 19-inch frame, and this is the one that's going to be on the bottom. So basically took the pedal off here, and the depth of the draw is going to be from the frame to the outside of the pedal member here. So I'm going to cut the depth of the draw at 80mm, so the spoke and the pedal will sit inside the draw, and then this framework will sit on the upstands on the outside of the draw, and then we'll figure out how to create some sort of pedestal to stack the other bike on top of after we've gotten this one in place.
So folks, as you'll see, I started with the actual seat for the draw. So what I'm doing here is, this is a full sheet of 18mm plywood, just cutting the plywood to length. So this bit that I'm cutting off the back end of it is basically scrap wood at the moment. Just a little tip or trick here: if you are cutting heavy bits of plywood or anything by yourself, use a batten and obviously move that along as you are cutting, and then that'll just support the loose bit of plywood and stop it from either snapping or breaking away from the bit that you are cutting. So I cut all the individual strips of plywood for the actual draw seat and for the sides and backs and fronts of the drawers themselves, all at the same time. I'm not going to go into detail for the measurements too much, as I don't know how big or small you're going to be making your drawer, so obviously I would advise to get a fresh piece of ply, write all your measurements down, or whatever you feel more comfortable with. Once you've got all of the bits cut to length, then I used my miter saw to chop them to the desired lengths. So these are the side jambs for the drawer to sit inside of, and this is the backing piece. So as you can see, I've Craig jigged at intervals. I've measured this so it's all nice and neat. I've done the same on these two. Just see the little marks on the bottom. So what I've done, I've measured in 100, and then every 200 along I have marked, and then on the opposite side I've marked 100 in the middle. So essentially there's going to be a fixing every 100mm, but they'll be alternate either side. So I've got the drill with the drill bit in, and I've actually set the depth on this because I'm going to be doing quite a few holes, and I'm going to get these drilled out and then fixed together, and then we'll get it fixed in place.
Aside from my soul,
So once I'd fixed the back of the drawer seat with a pin gun, just used that measurement to get the width measurement for the drawer, and then proceeded to chop them down to width. Now I wanted the drawer to sit flush with the front of the drawer seat, so just used 2 bits of 18mm ply, put them together, scribe that along the side lengths of the drawer, and then I knew what I needed to chop off. Started off by using a pin gun just to put all these side bits of ply together. This is the drawer construction. Keep checking your measurements with the tape measure throughout. You don't want to put your bottom piece on before you make sure your measurements are correct, and then proceed to rip your bottom section. Probably get away with a thinner ply if you've got any of it lying about. I did have 18mm, so I went with that, but you'd probably get away with a thinner ply for this if you were concerned about weight, etc. So guys, we have the drawer constructed here and the box what it's going to slide inside of. So basically what I'm going to do is got this 20mm box section I'm just getting from the metal merchants, cut the size 5mm short, so that's going to sit flush with the back, the end's going to sit flush with the back, going to sit it part way up the drawer runner here, fix it with self-tapping screws from this side straight into the 20mm box section, and then that is going to slide inside these actually skateboard ball bearings, the M8. So basically you've got an M8 bolt, ball bearing goes on there like so, and then your nut, M8 nut, and that's spins like that. So basically these are going to sit through here, so there's going to be one there, then there'll be a 20mm gap in the middle, and then a one sitting above, so the 20mm box section will slide in between the ball bearings, and these will be, got 20 of these, so there'll be 10 going on either side. We're going to put more near the front for when the draw's at full length, and that'll obviously give it a stronger support for when the actual draw's out all the way. So I'm going to make a jig up to drill these holes in the right positions, and then we'll get all this fixed together and fixed in place. So, what I'm doing here, I've just marked up where I want this 20mm steel box section to sit. I've clamped them up with my pump clamps, and then I'm just using a little pilot drill to pilot drill a hole, and then I'm using the big box of 32mm drywall screws at fairly small intervals, and plenty of fixings in there to make sure that's fixed okay. Once I've done that, just checking the height here for where the actual runners are going to sit. So obviously getting the draw seat level with the actual 20mm box section here. I'm going to mark on with your pencil whereabouts that sits, and then make a jig up. So I've got the end measurements, just scribing a line all the way along there. Measure to see whether you've got your 20mm. Then what I would advise you to do is give yourself a couple of millimeters play either side of them pencil lines. Make sure it's not too tight. So you're going to be looking, if you've got 20mm box section, you're going to be looking at the distance between your actual ball bearings is going to be around 25mm, so you've got 2.5mm play either side. You do it at 20mm, then it's just going to stick and the draw won't run very smooth at all. Once you've done that, put your ball bearings into your jig. You want to make sure that they run freely along your box section that's attached to the side of the drawer, and then you can proceed to use this jig to draw or drill holes wherever you need them to be. As you can see, I've already done that on the far side of the draw seat, and my dad's just putting the ball bearings in for me here, and then afterwards just use your pump clamp again to place the jig on the side, and then once the jig's on there, you know that your ball bearing holes are going to be in the correct position, either side, top and bottom. Once you've done that, just use a spanner and a drill with a socket on and make it easier for you to tighten them down. And then I went along and just nipped the end of the bolts off what were protruding out the other side. You can get bolts that are the correct size to fit. I just did have a bag full of longer ones, so I just ground the ends off after that was done. After that, sit your draw seat in the back of your van. You want to measure and measure again to make sure the front is the same width as the back, and then where you have drilled your Craig pockets, you just want to go around and fix your draw seat down, and that's the draw in. After that, use this 20mm rubber U-channel just along the sides of the drawers. This is just for when the frame sat on there, stop them from getting scratched or tarnished when I'm putting the bikes in and out of the van, and I just fix that with some small little wood screws. As you can probably see as well, just lined the drawer with a bit of leftover fake turf that I had lying around, just for extra protection. Gives a little bit of greenery to the back of the boot. So just a quick one in the bike drawer. Obviously use the 20mm U-channel, the rubber for the sides here, just to stop the frame from getting scratched wherever it lies over the side. So basically with the boot area on our van, the depth even from the floor to the top of the bed is 650, and then we have the pull-out table to contend with, and obviously the loss of height for wherever the drawer sits. So we're left with about 500mm, so there was no chance of us being able to stand the bikes on or upright, so they're going to have to be lay on the side. So came up with this. Obviously the drawer slide's constructed. We're going to have to take both the wheels off each of the bikes and both the pedals, as you can see. So the first bike's lay in place, and then basically just cut this to the highest height of the bike lay on its side, which is 240. So 240 is about perfectly the top height of this, which is the bit that sticks up the most. And then obviously there's going to be some 18mm ply going across here. I'm not going to put a solid piece in, because when the top bike sits in, this pedal is going to drop into the actual ply, if you like. So these two struts are going to actually be quite close. So basically I've got a straight edge, measured that it's the same distance from both sides at the back, so these are in the right place. I've cut them so it misses the bike seat here, and then I'm going to put a strut across here, so it's going to be inside of this pedal here, and then the strut across here as well. So I'm going to have to figure out somewhere to make it a bit more rigid. Maybe have to put a spoke or something somewhere, but that's as far as I'm getting so far. So we'll get this fixed up and then we'll have another look at it. So I've just constructed the box work to sit the top bike on top of. Obviously you can see the back frame's kicking up a little bit there, so what I'm going to do is jigsaw this back frame out. It's still going to have support here from this bit that's left, so that'll keep this side rigid, but I've just put a mark around there with the pencil to jigsaw that out. Hopefully that'll drop that underneath here. I won't be touching this, and then this will be sitting a bit flatter, and then we're going to put some hooks or some form of stay on the side so we can get some bungee cords just to go over the top. Simple as that. So I've just jigsawed that back bit out. That bit drops right through quite nicely. As you can see, this bar's now laying quite flat, so what I'm going to do next is just cut some horizontal strips and then I'm going to use the Craig jig to fix them down over into this, so they'll stand up here and up here, and then this will give us a guide for this bar to sit inside of every time that it sits on top of here. And then after that, all that's left to do is line the top of this with some artificial turf, and that'll just stop this frame from getting scratched. And then obviously just the bungee cords to attach, and then I think we're good to go. We can get this in the van and see how it works. So that is the top of the bike rack complete. Happy with how it's gone. Basically constructed the sides so they would miss the bottom sections of the bike. Had to put a split in there for the seat coming through, and then just put a couple of bridges over the top. Made it as low as possible so it doesn't hit the bottom spokes. These spokes aren't touching, the pedals are clear of each other. Obviously, like I already said, having to take both the pedals off the bike. To be honest, you probably get away with not taking the pedals off the, well, we'll see. We'll give it a try out with the pedals on. I'm gonna definitely have to take one pedal off the bottom bike, and then basically just put these struts on. These are quite tight, so as you can see with the triangular shape there, you'll put the bike in further over to this angle, and then obviously pull it down until it stops on these spokes. And then I think what I'm planning on doing is just attaching some bungee cords, maybe to the side of here, or we'll see once the draw's in, and then I'll just wrap over the top of the frame and just keep this from moving up and down. That'll be bungeed down like that, so it'll not be rattling, and should be nice and secure. Then it's just a case of finding somewhere to put the tyres, and then the pedals are just sitting there. Could maybe actually stack the tyres, 2 at the front and 2 at the back, because them aren't the width of here, so they're not going to get stopped by the batteries at the back. And also at the front there might be RE2. So let's get the draw in and see what it's like on the slide. Yeah. So that's the draw constructed and in. Got to dress that middle part up. I've just constructed a little bit, give it a sand down, maybe give it a paint it green, or possibility of lining it with some artificial turf as well, as I've got some of that left. But the bikes are looking quite neat. Slides very nice. Slides right out of there, as you can see, but plenty of room for you to be able to pick your bike off out of the boot there without getting in contact with the bed. So pick the first bike off, pick this middle bit off, and then pick our bike off the bottom as well. And then obviously just a case of putting the wheels and the pedals on. So I've tried fitting the wheels on the front here. There just isn't going to be enough space to stand them upright, so an option is to lie 2 of them on top of this top frame here. Doesn't look particularly pleasant, but gonna have to basically see what room we have. So before I start stressing about how the wheels are going to go in there, I'm going to get the rest of the bed frame constructed, and then we can see what access is like for putting the wheels in. Maybe he's thinking to get some bags, what people use for air transport, to put the wheels in when they're transporting their bikes for competition or whatever, and then they might just slide up the side nicely. So happy with how that's turned out though, and on to the next job. The bike build video in its entirety. I hope it's helped you guys out.
You can also use the same principle if you just wanted to use that for putting tools in there. You can put lids on them, you can put them different depths. It is just a good way to create extra storage in the van. I've seen people where they'll build stoves into here which connects up to a gas supply, or there's any endless amount of possibilities with this sort of system in the back of your van. And if you're going to have a fixed bed like us, it is really handy for just getting everything that's under there out of the way, as it's quite difficult to get things out from the back if your boot's really packed up. So yeah, I would highly recommend getting some sort of system like this in the back of your van. And if you like the video, show some support, like, subscribe, check out our Instagram channel in the description. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Cheers. Ta-da.